Hello friends, this is Nirmal here for Technique, and in this video we're going to compare two mid-range phones, the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro with the Honor 6X. So these two phones are pretty good devices or popular devices in this segment. Now we'll do a detailed comparison of these two phones and see which is the better device to buy and which device excels in whichever area. So before going into the detailed aspects, let's quickly have a look at this pricing. So the J7 Pro is priced 20,999 or rather 21,000, while the Honor 6X, the 4GB RAM and 64GB storage variant is priced 13,999. So that is the pricing of these two phones. Now let's go into the detailed aspects. So let's start off with the design and build quality. So design wise, you can see that both these devices are quite different in terms of design aspect. We have a physical home button on the J7 Pro, while it's on-screen buttons on the Honor 6X. And turning back, you can see the rear panel has a full metal body construction on both the devices. Both are quite good looking devices out there. Tapered edges feels quite good on both the devices as well. The Honor 6X is slightly more lighter in weight at 160 grams when compared to the 181 on the Samsung J7 Pro. And holding the device, both these devices gives a good feel altogether. But the tapered edges on the Honor 6X give it a pretty good feel altogether along with the lighter body. So design and build quality looks quite good on both the phones. So ease of use, we would say the Honor 6X with lighter body and tapered edges gives it a better feel. So that is the design and build quality of these two devices. Now other aspects include a fingerprint scanner on the front panel on the J7 Pro, while it's on the rear panel on the Honor 6X. Now both the devices come with dual SIM card slots. We have a dedicated SD card on the J7 Pro. Now both the devices come with a really good build quality. The matte finish or rear panel looks pretty premium on both the devices. So we can't really choose one winner out of these two devices in terms of design and build. So we'd leave it to your viewers to decide which is the better looking device out there. Now let's talk about the display. So we have a 5.5-inch display on both these devices. It's a full HD panel, that's a 1080p resolution. We have a Super AMOLED panel on the J7 Pro, while it's a IPS LCD panel on the Honor 6X. Now looking at the viewing angles, you could see that the J7 Pro offers slightly better viewing angles with the AMOLED panel, and overall color quality and sharpness levels was slightly better on the J7 Pro. So for that slight margin with the AMOLED panel, we would give it to the J7 Pro for the display aspect. But the Honor 6X is also quite good in terms of the display performance and looks pretty good. Now neither of these devices offer any protection on the display. Now let's talk about the software. So we have two different UIs. One is the Samsung's UI, the other is EMUI 5.1. Both the phones run on Android 7, and we'll have a closer look at the features of these two devices. So first up, the J7 Pro, which comes with the new Samsung's UI, and if you look at the settings panel, it does come with a really clean and clutter-free UI. It has additional features included like the option to lock and protect apps, one-handed UI, multi-window support is included. Then there is dual messenger for running two instances of WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. And then there is panic mode, easy mode, support for themes. There are a whole lot of themes to download once you have connected to the Samsung account. And it does come with Samsung's core apps like S-Secure and Secure Folder, and there is also Samsung Pay support. So that's one really useful feature. You can use this as a wallet for your payments. So these are some of the features of the Samsung UI. Overall, it feels quite good, polished, and does give a good feel altogether without any sort of lags or issues. So that's the Samsung UI. Now let's talk about the Honor's EMUI. So EMUI 5.1 is the latest version which runs on Android 7.0, and this is the first time Honor is implementing an app drawer. So previously it was multiple home screens, now we have an app drawer. And if you go to the settings panel, here again you can see it's a really custom and well implemented settings panel, and here there are lots of additional options included like floating dock, motion control, one-handed UI. Then there is additional options like support for multiple apps. So you can see there is app tune option, then there is support for themes, and a whole lot of options are included. And you can also see a custom notification and quick toggle area. So again, the software feels quite good, feature rich, and does the job pretty well in terms of the performance aspect. So in terms of software experience, we would say both these devices are equally good. We can't really choose one UI here. Both these devices offer quite good experience, and tons of added features are also included. Now let's talk about the performance. So here we have two different chipsets. One we have the Exynos 7870 octa-core chipset with 3GB RAM and 64GB storage, while we have a Kirin 655 octa-core chipset which is coupled with 4GB RAM and 64GB storage. So both these devices run on in-house chipset. The Exynos is from Samsung, while the Kirin, high silicon Kirin, is from Huawei. So looking at the benchmark score, you can see that the Kirin 655 is almost similar to what we've seen on the Snapdragon 625, while the 7870 is slightly more inclined to the Snapdragon 435 series. It's not as powerful as the Kirin 655, but that does the job pretty well in terms of the performance. Now looking at the day-to-day experience of these two devices, we would say that both these devices offered quite good experience overall. There was hardly any issues, and it was quite a good experience using the device in day-to-day tasks. There was no lags whatsoever. And if you look at the gaming experience of these devices, we have uploaded the videos of these two devices with the Android 7.0. The Honor 6s gaming performance has improved vastly. Previously it was kind of lagging experience, but now with Android 7.0 it has improved a lot, and even the J7 Pro provides quite good gaming experience overall. So in day-to-day experience, both these devices offer quite good experience, and still we would say the Kirin 655 is slightly superior to the 7870 in terms of the performance aspect. Now both the phones come with 64GB storage. We have 3GB RAM on the J7 Pro, while it's 4GB RAM on the Honor 6X. Now the call quality of both these devices was quite good, and the speaker performance again was quite decent on both the phones. Now both these devices also support 4G LTE and VoLTE out of the box. We have a dedicated SD card on the J7 Pro, while it's a hybrid SIM card on the Honor 6X. Now let's talk about the fingerprint scanner experience. So we have a fingerprint scanner located on the rear panel on the Honor 6X, while it's on the front panel on the J7 Pro. So we will do a quick fingerprint scanner testing on both these devices and see which is better here. So you can see that the Honor 6X is much faster than the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro in terms of the fingerprint scanner experience. Now as I said before, additionally the J7 Pro comes with NFC support and Samsung's Pay is included, so you can use this as a wallet and make payments using the NFC support. Now let's talk about the cameras. So we have a 13 megapixel rear camera on the J7 Pro, while we have a dual camera setup on the Honor 6X, 12 plus 2 megapixel dual camera setup, and we have LED flash on both these devices. Now on the front panel we have another 13 megapixel camera on the J7 Pro, while it's an 8 megapixel shooter on the Honor 6X. Now looking at the camera interface of these two devices, both these devices offer tons of features and modes. You can see the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro offers handy features like the HDR Pro mode, panorama, while the Honor 6X Pro provides tons of useful modes and tools, and both these devices are equally good. But we would say in terms of the features being offered, the Honor 6X definitely has an edge. Now the Honor 6X also comes with the wide aperture mode, wherein you can change the aperture once you have taken the photo with the dual camera setup. So that's really a good feature and does produce some really great photos. Now looking at the camera samples taken between these two devices in daylight condition, you can see that the Honor 6X produces some really vibrant and crisp images. On the other hand, the J7 Pro is not as good as the Honor 6X in terms of the daylight performer. You could see that the colors feel slightly dull or washed out in the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro, especially in the daylight captures. But when it comes to close-up images, both these devices provided good experience, and with wide aperture mode, again the Honor 6X definitely has an edge in terms of the daylight performance. So in terms of the camera quality, that's the rear camera performance, we would say the Honor 6X is superior to the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro. Now low light images experience, again I could see that both these devices provide decent experience overall in terms of the low light experience. Now looking at the selfie experience, we have a 13 megapixel shooter on the J7 Pro, while on a 6X we have an 8 megapixel shooter. Now both the phones provide a pretty good selfie experience. We would say the Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro was slightly better in terms of the skin tones and sharpness levels. In terms of selfie experience, J7 Pro definitely has an edge. But overall camera quality, we would say the Honor 6X is better with wide aperture mode and whole lot of filters and modes to choose. Now talking about the battery. So we have a 3600 mAh battery on the J7 Pro, while Honor 6X comes with 3340 mAh battery. Even though the battery capacity is slightly lower on the Honor 6X, both these devices were quite good in terms of the battery experience, and we can easily get through 1.5 days of usage on both the phones. So we say that the battery performance is really good on both the phones. Now summing up, the J7 Pro is priced 21,000 while the Honor 6X is priced 14,000. So there is almost 7K pricing between these two devices. So does Samsung Galaxy J7 Pro offers anything additional for that 7K? It does come with the Super AMOLED panel and the Samsung Pay support. Those are the two things which the J7 Pro has an advantage. Other than that, we would say the Honor 6X would be the much better package out there, because it has overall good package with good UI, camera performance is good, battery life is good, a decent gaming experience, Kirin 655 is good, and the display and the overall design also feels quite good, and it offers 4GB RAM and 64GB storage at just 14K. But if you're looking for a Samsung J series phone, J7 Pro is definitely the best out there in terms of the features. But Samsung J7 Pro definitely priced higher, and we feel that it should have been around the 16 or 17 or 18K pricing. That would have made much better sense. So that was a detailed comparison of these two phones. Hope you liked this video. Do hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button below. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.